America's Epstein associate-in-chief seems to be getting buried under a mountain of evidence that he was clearly one of the best friends of the notorious trafficker. But just how bad is the president and his allies trying to cope with this? And is it even getting pretty embarrassing, even to the GOP? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Hit that subscribe button and let's talk about it. So you guys know that I'm covering some controversial topics here. So if you can support the channel by becoming a member at Combat Vet News, I'd appreciate it. The link's always in the description. Okay, so the birthday card, hand-drawn by Donald Trump in 2003, in a book provided to notorious trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, was released by the White House, or excuse me, by the Wall Street Journal. And here it is. As you can see, it is exactly as the journal described it, saying, quote, "There must be more to life than having everything. Donald Jeffrey, right? It's a fictional dialogue. Yes, there is. I won't tell you what it is. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey." Of course, this is a statement from Donald. Yes. And Jeffrey replies, "Yes, we do, come to think of it. Enigmas never age." What an interesting comment to make to someone who preyed on underage girls. Huh. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Matter of fact, it's clear to me the last time I saw you. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Huh, weird. Weird thing to say to someone who's, sex trafficking ring. And as you can see, there is his signature right below the hips of the figure that President Trump has drawn, right? Now, I want to take this time to remind you that the president said this did not exist. The Wall Street Journal had made it up as a work of fiction. As you can see, there's the signature, looking very much like President Trump's signature on every other document. Now, the funny part, sad part, it'd be funny if it wasn't the U.S. president, is that in fact, this is part of an entire book of 50th birthday cards provided to the notorious billionaire sex trafficker. And again, I want to use more clear language when I describe this person, but YouTube literally won't let me. But as we know, this man was due to be tried for systematically trafficking and sexually assaulting girls, right? So just know that when I hide behind euphemisms, understand it's not me trying to protect Jeffrey Epstein. It's because YouTube literally has a bunch of no-no words. And if I want to get my message out, I have to abide by YouTube's arbitrary rules. So here's a couple of things from The Telegraph, right? The Telegraph is, of course, the UK newspaper. So it focuses on someone named Peter Mandelson, who is was the UK's ambassador to the United States, who was also a good friend, apparently, of Jeffrey Epstein in the era, right? As you can see, he is also just so very generous to the man who ran a sex trafficking operation and includes even photographs. Here's actually a message to Jeffrey from Bill Clinton, a handwritten note from, again, at the time, former U.S. President Bill Clinton. There's also contributors, including a 22-year-old hostess working at a hotel restaurant. Oh, kind of weird, right? Right. And here again is a photograph of the UK's ambassador to the US standing, looking out over a balcony over his island. And what does he say? Listen to this text. And then bear in mind, this is from the exact same document, the exact same book that Trump included his letter alluding to their secret together and then drawing a picture of a nude young woman. Right. The message from Lord Mandelson says, basically Epstein, once upon a time, an intelligent, sharp-witted man they called mysterious, parachuted into my life. I would spend many hours just waiting for him to turn up. And no sooner were you getting used to having him around when you would suddenly be alone again, leaving you with some, and he puts it in quotations, interesting friends to entertain instead. Huh. What a weird thing to say about a guy who ended up trafficking young girls. Huh. Weird. Right? The text continues, or just some dogs to keep you company. He wasn't always so keen on them. This is a quotation. But then he would parachute back in very occasionally, taking you by surprise in some far off places. And then there's a photo of little St. James. Wow, what an interesting far off place to go. Weird, right? And it's weird that one of Epstein's chief, most public victims, Virginia Giuffre, labeled it an orgy island. Huh. Weird. But nothing suspicious about this, just like there's nothing suspicious about this artwork provided to Mr. Epstein by an unnamed associate, depicting him in 1983 as handing balloons to young girls and then later getting massages from young girls. Huh, weird. Yeah, interesting. So, according to the Telegraph, which reviewed the files, it also juxtaposed alongside the suggestive letters and photographs is a disturbing section labeled Children, featuring a number of letters which appear to have been authored by kids, along with photos of what appears to be two different children who've had their faces redacted. Now, again, there's also an interesting takeaway where there's also a photograph of what appears to be a parody, right? Two friends messing with Jeffrey Epstein's very good friend, Donald Trump, in which they say, they pay to the order of Jeffrey Epstein $22,500, a novelty check signed, obviously false, like signed fakely by Donald Trump, right? But they add in the note, sort of tongue-in-cheek, saying that Epstein sold Trump a woman for $22,500 that they describe as fully depreciated. And for those of you that don't know, that's a real estate joke. When you buy any business asset, but in this case, a house or a hotel or another property, you get to depreciate it over time because, well, houses fall apart. They lose their value just like a car might. And so you get to do these like write-downs. And so the idea that you've depreciated a woman seems to be like a joke that, like a building that slowly becomes less valuable over time, whereas in contrast, right, the land the building is on remains sort of fixed in value or might appreciate in value. The idea is that the woman has lost its value, or has lost its value and is worth now, I guess the joke is a mere $22,500, which is also kind of weird that, the woman in the picture, I mean, you can't really see too much of her, but she appears like pretty slender. So I wonder, it's kind of weird, right? What do you think? Weird that a man who, again, trafficked children would have a picture of him joking about trafficking a woman to President Trump, but only after she had aged and lost her value. What do you think that could mean? Your guess is as good as mine. But wait, let's talk. There's a bigger discussion here we have to have because it's pretty weird. So, yeah, we talked about this weird birthday letter. Now, Trump and Mike Johnson, of course, are working tirelessly to stop the release of the Epstein files. And while Trump is Donald Trump, he's sort of his own animal. Boy, I would not want to be Mike Johnson, given that he's a pretty staunch Christian. And at this point, it's getting pretty hard to argue that the Christian thing to do is obviously to protect President Trump from, again, what he claims is a hoax. He says actually that all of these documents, by the way, guys, are fake. Even the ones that have been public, even the ones that were filed in a court of law before Trump was ever president. He says actually all of those were manufactured by Democrats, and there's nothing quite as believable as saying the Democrats actually faked a letter from Bill Clinton to a notorious sex trafficker and put it in the binder alongside Trump's. Right, alongside Trump's name, which is crazy. But it's also crazy that the Mike Johnson is now claiming that Trump was an FBI informant, guys. That's right. Trump was deep cover, but also deep cover for a hoax that never occurred. So you can see how this is becoming just absolutely preposterous, right? He says that Obama and Biden faked the Epstein files to make sure he would lose the election, but obviously never released the files. Maybe Joe Biden and Obama forgot to do it before the election. Their fake files in which Trump was also a hero, a heroic, FBI informer who worked tirelessly to put a stop to this trafficking operation, which again is fake. And even JD Vance, right? This is a tweet of his. He says this story. This is when the Wall Street Journal said they had the letter in their possession. Vance said, "Where is this letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Donald Trump?" Well, obviously, we just saw the letter, so again. We can be confident that JD Vance just can't be listened to. But there's one other takeaway that I think is really important to this whole story, and it's on Fox News. Now, you guys know Fox News exists exclusively as a platform to promote Donald Trump, the politician and president. In fact, whenever Donald Trump switches his views, you can see the Fox editorial, the homepage editorials update in real time from being pro-Ukraine to anti-Ukraine back to pro-Ukraine. But take a look, first off, at the homepage here, where you can back it up. Let's see if it'll let me back it up. It may try to block me. Let's see. Okay. It won't take me to the homepage, and I don't really want to mess with it because, well, it's Fox News. But take a look. You can see the headline here of this release doesn't involve Donald Trump at all. It says Bill Clinton's in the Epstein birthday book, which is interesting because, again, another News Corp-owned publication, the Wall Street Journal, is the ones who released it. And the infamous birthday book is among the files released by the House Oversight Committee. And the House Oversight Committee released another tranche of files related to Jeffrey Epstein, message from former Bill Clinton in the late pedophile's infamous birthday book, right? Documents released by committee, right? Clinton praises Epstein's, quote, childlike curiosity, drive to make a difference, and illegible of friends. Brilliant. It also, of course, includes entries by former Trump attorney, but they don't acknowledge that. They say former Epstein attorney Alan Dershowitz, but Dershowitz also was Trump's attorney in defending him from his impeachment hearings, and President Donald Trump. Though then they add, the White House and president have vehemently denied its veracity on multiple occasions. And again, Caroline Leavitt says, quote, they include a quote from the White House, basically pure cope, saying Trump never drew this picture, and we're totally going to sue, right? So it's kind of weird that they give a lot of weight to the White House's denials. I mean, look, they give one sentence to the fact that Trump was in there, and actually they put his attorney first, right? And then sort of aside, oh yeah, Trump was also in there. Right. But then they say, but Trump says it wasn't him. And here's a long, lengthy statement saying that it's not him. Right. And then it talks more about Epstein and Clinton. And then the only other sentence referencing Trump is neither Clinton nor Trump have been accused of any wrongdoing related to Epstein. That is false. That is patently untrue. They haven't been charged with anything related to Epstein, but Trump has absolutely been accused of sexual assault. We looked at that. It is in a sworn affidavit filed in court by a Jane Doe. And again, just because they haven't filed charges doesn't mean that it's not an accusation. It's an accusation filed again in an affidavit, a sworn statement in open court. So, right, it includes a bunch of other things, including what I think is funny because they also reference this sort of joke big check. But what's interesting is that the aside says, well, that doesn't look like Donald Trump's signature. Like, do you not know what a joke is? And again, the Fox News write-ups are just absolutely comical. And the committee chair, they include a quote from him saying, you only release the portion of the files that includes Trump's name, which is false. That's patently false as shown by the article. We just saw it. The article itself showed the committee released all that stuff with Bill Clinton's name. And it says President Trump is not accused of any wrongdoing, which is absolutely not true. And here's what's the funniest part to me. If you look at the comments, there's a lot of comments, 25,000 comments. And look at them. Anyone involved in the abuse of minors should be put on trial and sent to jail. No exceptions for wealth, political party, or social status. Every last one of them. Huh. Democrats love this issue now that Trump is in office. They really cared about the victims. They just want an issue where they can get political traction. But the top comment is, the comment below that is, people of power in power need to be held accountable regardless of party. If Clinton did these things, we need justice served. If Trump, same thing. Mr. Trump needs to release the files as promised, right? There's talk about billionaires exploiting farmers. They say, here's another one. Rich and powerful from both sides were there. Therefore, nothing will come out for years. Next one comment. Great, let's get all the evidence out there regardless of political party and let the chips fall where they may. Why does the United States AG send her immediate deputy to personally interview an inmate convicted of sex trafficking, give them a platform to countermand conviction, then suddenly the prisoner is transferred to a cushy prison? I'm willing to entertain any reasonable explanation. Even among the most hardcore Trump supporters, I mean, commenters in the Fox News comment section are all saying the same thing. That this is obviously, Trump is obviously in there, and that the American public has a right to know. But again, as we've talked about on this channel, what else do you want to know? There's probably not video of Trump assaulting these women, but what would it take for you to conclude that a friend did these things, right? There's a woman who filed in court, said she was assaulted, seemed to know the exact address and internal layout of Epstein's apartment, so she was definitely in there, or his townhouse. There is Trump on the flight logs, pictures of them together, right? Statements by Trump saying that they share a secret relationship. Statements by Trump on the record before he was president, in which he says him and Jeffrey Epstein love young girls. What more evidence do you want? And photographs, hundreds, dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of photographs of the two of them together. So what more evidence do you want? Would someone want to believe that the president engaged in this? And again, my belief is, as an American, you should be a single issue voter, because in this country, under our Constitution, no one is above the law, period. So if the law says that the way to punish a president is impeachment or electoral defeat, so that's it. There's your answer. Then Congress is going to impeach him because they're spineless cowards and appear to be, in some cases, in on it. So that leaves us, the voters. Go take him and his ilk and his supporters and go kick him to the curb, and then put someone in office who's going to actually drop the files and charge every single Epstein client. I don't care. I don't care if it's everybody in Congress. Here's the thing that I sleep fine at night because I've never done anything. And I know that the vast majority of Americans, right, aren't billionaires. They're not politicians. They're not prime ministers. They live in a world of consequence. They live in a world where they don't get to just exploit anyone they want because they're creeps, right? And believe it or not, in a democracy, I've heard that occasionally regular people do still have their power. If you wonder where I get the energy to stream like this every day and also run triathlons and ultra marathons as I did literally last week, you know that my secret weapon is Strike Gum. It's veteran owned, made in the USA, and sugar free. It's got an energy drink's worth of caffeine in every single piece. So we're also having a buy one, get one on all single packs. So check it out at strikegum.com. And of course, as always, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, guys. Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot of videos. Huge thank you to, we just saw somebody join, get a membership. Thank you, Chris Hogfist. Appreciate you. Anyway, guys, I got to get out of here, man. This has been a really fun video. I really appreciate you joining me, but I got to eat lunch, man. It is 1 o'clock here, so I'll see you. See you in the next video. See you probably tomorrow. Cheers.